So we are sharing with you what we have noticed works best for us and best for the people who we share it with. And we realize there are these 4 core principles that one can apply to anything they eat. And that is very simple, LWPW.
Okay.
We'll explain each one.
Please.
Take 2 minutes for each.
Please.
The first L, LWPW, L stands for living. So it might even be surprising for many people to know that food is not inert. It has life in it. And when we eat food that has life, it will give us life. And then what is the opposite of life, if I may ask?
Death.
Then there is food which we term as dead food. There is per se no prana or no life force. So when we eat that, it's not going to give us life. We are not deciding whether it has nutrition or not, whether it has vitamins or not, because we are not looking at food with that aspect. We are saying, does it have life in it to give us that basic life that we need? So when we see living food, it's the first category of Satvic food. Now, what is living food? Anything that has come from earth, grown in earth with life in it, and has retained its original properties is living. So most commonly it would be fruits, vegetables, grains, seeds, nuts, sprouts. These are the categories which we consider living foods, and they have not been altered from the way nature has designed us to consume it. And what would be dead foods?
Packaged?
Anything that has been packaged, processed, tinned, bottled, canned is dead food, because it's been there inside that particular packaging for how long?
Yes, so W stands for wholesome. In Hindi, we call this puranta. Puranta, which means that
Pura.
it is pura, exactly. The food is pura. It's not that something has been subtracted from it, taken from it, and we're eating the fragmented version of it. So it's like whatever we get from the earth is complete. It's a whole packaged deal. It's a very thought through food that's coming to us. Whether it's a coconut, whether it's a peanut, whether it's a fruit or a vegetable, the earth has done a lot of planning before sending it for humankind. It's not silly. The earth or nature is not silly that it will give anything. Done a lot of planning, lot of thinking that this food needs to have the perfect ratio of fat, of oils, of protein, of carbohydrates, so that it's a whole package deal that I'm offering to humankind. Now, what do we humans do? We think that we are better than nature. We are better than the earth. We will make it even better. We'll make this food even better. So we take something from it. We subtract it. The Satvic principle simply says that as far as possible, it may not be practical to do it all the time, every time, but as far as possible, try to eat food in its whole form.
Whole form.
Puranta ke saath.
But we are eating very whole. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I think plant-based is something very sacred to us, very close to us, because it affects the inner being or the subtle being very directly, energetically, much more than L and W would. L and W would remain at the physical level,
Correct.
but this P, the plant-based component of the food, affects us at that subtle level. So I think we'll also present it from that point of view. Yeah, and this is again something which is not, I don't know if there's any research behind it, how it adds to that energetic being within us. But when we are talking about food that is coming from animals, most of the cases it's coming, and I'm just going to say it, it's a cause of suffering to the animals. It's in pain of the animals that the food is then created. So-called food is extracted and created. So energetically, that carries that pain, that suffering that the animal had to go through. And when we are consuming it, we think we are only consuming the vitamins and the proteins and the fiber, but we're actually also consuming the karma or the energetic suffering that is absorbed into us. So I think because we are seeing food in a holistic sense, for us, eating plant-based becomes very critical.
So P and the W, right? So P, we talked about the plant-based. W, Let's go. W.
So W is, I would say, the simplest of them all. It simply means water rich.
Water.
Water rich. That eat food which is water rich. So the whole Satvic philosophy, actually, the word Satvic originates from the Bhagavad Gita. And in the Bhagavad Gita, these 3 gunas are described. And there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 8, which shares the exact definition of Satvic food. And in that it says that Ayu, that means the food that increases your life. Sattva, which increases the goodness within you. Balarogya, which increases the strength within you, is the first characteristic before plant-based, before anything, before wholesome, before living. It says is rasya in the Bhagavad Gita. Rasya. The food is juicy in nature. It's full of water. And the simple way to understand now, what is juicy food? Does
The
it
only
mean
rasya I know is rasna.
rasya? That's quite the
that is not-
opposite.
okay.
No.
Okay.
Rasya.
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 Rasya. Rasya is juice within the food.
Yes. Inbuilt.
Inbuilt.
Inbuilt into the food.
So like when we squeeze the orange.
Full of rasya,
Rasya.
right? You take a watermelon, a cucumber, any vegetable, a zucchini, full of rasya.
Wow.
And
The
on
water
the
component within the cells of that particular.
Wow.
It's not just the juice of it. That's not what we're talking about.
and that you can call it rasya food, you can call it water-rich food, you can call it hydrating food. But essentially, when we say that 70% of our body is made up of water, we don't realize that we have a very strong need or a dire need to constantly keep replenishing this water within our bodies. But what are we doing? We're eating food which is the actual opposite of that. We're constantly eating just food which is devoid of water. We eat so much of grains, we eat chapati, rice, dal, we just keep eating this all day. But little do we realize that the basic need of the body is also to have water inbuilt into our food, which we are completely skipping or missing out in a lot of cases.
Wow.